I met my husband at a bookstore.
Oh,
So
yes, yes.
yes, I met him at the bookstore. He started working there, and he had his first day at work. He had to shelve romance novels with me. So
That's sweet. That's a meet cute. I think that's a
yeah.
very that's sweet.
Episode 7 Love Was Not the Language.
Hi everyone, it's Lily Sangjantalangsi of Rooted and Becoming podcast. Today's episode 7, Love Was Not the Language. I am so excited about today's episode. It's deeply personal. It is an honor to introduce someone who has helped and shaped my life in many ways she may not even fully realize. My sister, my steady presence, my mirror in both struggle and strength, Boualoy Poupee Dayton. Boualoy was just 2 years old when our family arrived in the United States in 1977 as refugees from Laos. We landed in San Diego. She is one of 5 daughters and 1 son in our family, raised in a household where love was shown through survival, sacrifice, and duty. Love was rarely spoken out loud. We grew up in a Buddhist home, yet were sent to the church to acclimate to American culture. And while our parents eventually pulled us out when faith began to deepen, Boualoy's curiosity and longing for spiritual understanding continued. Her walk with Jesus became something deeply personal, an intentional journey of seeking, questioning, and growing. Education was always a sacred topic in our home, and Boualoy embodied that value fully. She earned her bachelor's degree from California State University, Long Beach, in political science, with an emphasis in international relations, alongside a health science minor and peace studies certification. She was active in athletics and student life, immersing herself particularly in Greek life, spaces where leadership and belonging intersected. Today, she serves as the director of College Business Center for Student Success at CSU Long Beach, where she supports students not only academically, but developmentally and holistically. She holds a Master's of Science in Counseling with an emphasis in student development in higher education. Her thesis research explored leadership for social change in Pan-Hellenic sororities, and she contributed a chapter in New Directions for Student Services, Hispanic serving institutions through the eyes of students and administrators. And yet, despite all of these accomplishments, what moves me most is she recently shared that she did not truly explore what it meant to be Laotian refugee until only recently through her involvement with the CSU Long Beach Asian Pacific Islander Network and attending her first Apahi conference in April 2025. That honesty, that humility, that continued belonging, this is the episode. Love was not a language. Feels so fitting for Boualoy, because if you know her, you know she is love. She embodies care, she serves, she uplifts, she shows up. She creates belonging for others, sometimes before claiming it fully for herself. Today, we explore what love looked like in a refugee household, how faith shaped her understanding of safety and devotion, the tension between culture, duty, and personal identity, leadership as an act of love, and how we begin to redefine partnerships, worth, and tenderness in our own lives. This conversation is not just about romantic love. It's about the love we inherited, the love that we were denied, the love we learned to translate, and the love we finally brave enough to speak fluently. Please join me in welcoming my lovely, lovely sister, Boualoy Dayton. Yay! Welcome. How are you doing today, day after the Lunar New Year?
Yeah, no, great. Luckily, I was able to celebrate Lunar New Year with the university today. So I volunteered 2 hours to lead a table students, faculty, and staff to make little keychains. So I also was gifted with a red envelope from one of my staff members. And so, yeah, it's been really a nice day today.
Oh my goodness, I love it. I love that you guys are celebrating Lunar New Year, and there's so many because it was also, I believe, Fat Tuesday, and I mean a lot of celebrations yesterday.
Yes.
For sure, for sure. Oh my goodness. Before we dive into the conversation, I want to share that I know you had joined of the Apahi conference in 2025, and you inspired me. I just want to let you know to apply for the 2026 conference in Anaheim. And I'm so excited that we are going to be co-presenting. We are co-presenters at the Apahi 2026 conference in Anaheim, April. Super, super excited. It's like full circle moment for you and for me to be able to share that with you. How do you feel?
Actually, I'm very excited. I was just, I had a webinar that I participated in regards to Black student leadership and just showing up for our students. The dean of the College of Education,
Yeah.
she was my thesis advisor, and she presented, and she
Uh-huh.
actually talked about sharing your story and making sure that you have that connection with your students. It
Mhm.
inspires them, and it also humanizes you as a staff member or a professor. And so sharing your story is extremely important. And to know that it is actually written,
Yeah.
in research for what we do, what I do professionally, is just amazing. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that. The theme this year is around building resilience and legacy. And I love that we're going to be sharing intentionally and bridging stories, as you just said, and creating a space for belonging and uplifting the Apahi community in reclaiming their voice and their power. So I'm super excited. And thank you so much for encouraging me to do that. And I'm looking forward to that special day. Well, today, as I mentioned, is around love is not the language. And when I think about my childhood, of course, I automatically think of my siblings because we all grew up in the same household and had shared so many experiences together, and so much that we can relate to. Can you share with me, growing up, what were some of your memories, youngest memories around love? How did love show up for you growing up?
So growing up, not that mom and dad didn't love us,
Mhm.
but they didn't show it. It was never intentional, right? It was nothing that they would do. It was kind of like we did what we needed to do, what they expected us to do, and that was it. We
Mhm.
had no say in anything, really. But the one time that I truly felt love was when I was probably, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7, and we lived in Escondido. It was the only house in between a photography studio and another, I think it was just like a parking lot.
Yeah, yeah, it was a parking.
But yeah, it was just, and there was a house there and we lived in it. But I think I had a fever, and that was the one and only time I remember mom really, she took care of me, and that I felt love there.
Mhm.
But they also showed love in the sense of, right, all our birthdays, they would get a cake and then there'd be all these kids, even though I didn't know who the kids were, but they were parents, and that was it. So I know that they loved us, but it was different.
Yeah, I think what's more important than using language of love, like in the literal sense, is how we felt. And I think our parents were so focused on putting that roof over our head and
Mhm.
making sure that we had food on the table and had resources to the extent that they could provide them. That was their way of showing love.
Mhm.
And I agree. I mean, I recall them not ever saying I love you.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I didn't think anything wrong with it. Like I didn't actually think it was atypical, right?
Mhm.
Because I hadn't experienced households outside of our own,
Mhm.
because we weren't really allowed or given opportunities to like stay
Mhm.
over.
Mhm.
Sleepovers was not a thing.
Yes, we were not allowed to sleep at anyone's house. We can go to parties,
Mhm.
but we couldn't spend the night because mom and dad worked hard to put a roof over our head. So I never had my first sleepover
Mhm.
until college.
Until yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm just trying to remember. Just I don't remember my first sleepover, to be honest. But I definitely know it wasn't when I was living with mom and dad. Like it was after college or during college for sure. But yeah, I did not I don't when I think about ever hearing the I love you was it when I questioned it, it was later in my life. When was the first time when love was expressed
Yeah.
to you? When was that?
It was 2000.
Mhm.
It's 2026 now. So 2000. Pretty much. I spent a year in Namibia. I went out there to teach. I had to teach English.
Yeah.
And I had called dad, and he ended the phone call with me saying, I love you. And he'd never said I love you before. And so that was really special hearing that because, I'm in like another country all by myself
Mhm.
without my parents. And I actually called dad because I had a nightmare about
Oh,
him. So, and I told him about it and I was concerned. It was special. So,
oh. Well, that's beautiful. Similarly, I did not experience them expressing love until later. I saw and experienced my friends, close friends, seeing their family dynamics and their expressiveness, right? And their show of love to one another. I thought it was beautiful. And I'm like, hmm, I feel it. I want to have that experience as well. And so I one day I said I love you to both of them. And I think they were taken aback a little bit. And I should ask mom. I think that'll be a question that I ask her in the near future. Like, how did she feel when I expressed that? But gradually, dad started to open up a little bit. But for a while, it wasn't natural. It wasn't a natural thing. And I
mhm.
think it's because they didn't grow up with it. Yeah, it's just unspoken in our culture, family culture.
Yeah. And, technology has changed quite a bit, right?
That's true.
So,
That's true.
I was able to call dad, but it was a very expensive phone call, international. But since then, right, whenever I did talk to mom or dad, I had to make it intentional. I need to call mom and check in on her and tell her that I love her
Mhm.
because even though she normally doesn't do that for us, I
Mhm.
wanted to make sure mom knew that we love her, that I love
Yeah.
her. So I just made that intentional because
Yeah.
I also want my kids to love me. And so, in that sense, keeping those, just the communication and the connection.
Mhm.
So, because I don't want my kids to feel like they can't call me. Oh, and I want them to be able to let me know if they ever need anything. Yeah. So I just remind mom, not just on Mother's Day or her birthday.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that's beautiful. Going back to your childhood and just how love looked like then, how did
Mhm.
that impact you growing up and your view of love and what
Mhm.
love meant? And like, how did that impact who you became earlier you?
So, right, you shared mom and dad sent us to church to get acclimated to American culture. And I used to sneak out to go to church. So I would sneak out to go to church because I actually enjoyed it.
Mhm.
I enjoyed connecting with people. And I later on, when they didn't allow us to go to church anymore, I would always get sad when, around Easter and you would hear the story about Jesus. And I'm like, why would someone do that? Why would someone kill somebody and do that? And then I found out that he did that for me.
Mhm.
And it was just amazing.
Mhm.
Um, and to me, our culture, our Buddhist culture, religion that I grew up with, to me, that's more of a culture, not my religion, because I was taught to always bow down, serve the rice, do the offering. And it was just part of everyday life. I hope that makes sense. It was more of a routine and a ritual.
Mm.
Because as an Asian woman, you're not taught doctrine, you're not taught anything because you're not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I was taught what
Mm-hmm.
the Buddhist religion is like. And I was always taught to serve,
Mm-hmm.
and that's who I am. It's a huge part of who I am that hasn't gone away. And I still serve. My husband and I, we've been together since 1998, and ever since I dated him, he shared his church with me, and we've been there the whole time since 1998. And
Wow.
we teach together. So
Mhm.
we've taught fifth through sixth grade, as well as 2 and 3-year-olds for the past 20 years. So yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. So before your husband, in terms of love, and we'll talk a little bit about romance because I think
Yeah.
it does show up, right? How we
Yeah.
view love. And as you were explaining, the role of women in your perspective growing up, your beliefs in how women in that service role, and how did that impact how you showed up in those romantic relationships, or even relationships with others?
hmm So, right, growing up, I loved boys. So I just loved everybody.
Mhm.
I don't know. Whatever they were cute. I liked them. I'd run up to them, kick them, and run away. So, but I was always in love with somebody or
Mm.
something, So, I
Typical
I know,
teenager, right?
teenager. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was a hopeless romantic. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But in terms of like how I see relationships, so right in college when I had like my first real relationship, it was one-sided. I did what I normally do, right? You serve, you do everything for the person, but it was one-sided and I had to break that routine. So
Mhm.
I had a boyfriend, but then apparently he had a bunch of girlfriends at the same time that I didn't
Oh
know
no.
about. So,
Oh
but
no.
yeah, so that was one, and then I had another one that was really special,
Mhm.
and and then it just he was not content. He was just content with the relationship, and then bored. But
Mhm.
he cared about me, but it was because it was who he was when he was with me.
Okay.
So it was what I was providing him with. So in college, I was a president scholar. I had free parking. I had a lot of benefits. And so he reaped those rewards and just used me. But I loved him. I thought I loved him, right?
Mhm.
And so I stayed in that relationship and then I left him because I found out he cheated on me and then I went back and then I finally had to wake up and say, yeah, I don't deserve this.
Mhm.
This is not what I want or what I need.
Mhm.
And during that time, I met my husband.
Okay.
So it's surprising that he is with me because I made him drink a bottle of Coke so I can put rum in it.
So you can put Wait, so you could put rum in it? Is that what I
Yes,
heard?
it was bad. Yeah. We were gonna go midnight bowling after work at Borders because I met my husband at a bookstore. So
Oh, yes,
yes,
yes.
I met him at the bookstore. He started working there, and he had his first day at work. He had to shelve romance novels with me. So,
That's sweet. That's a meet cute. I think that's a
yeah.
that's sweet. So what was different with Brian and versus the other? Did you feel like you had to perform, like you needed to earn love? I'm just trying to understand how growing up in the way that we did and how that impacted your early
Mhm.
relationships. And Mhm.
Yeah. With Brian, it was different because we would go on dates and go to church together, or he would just come over and I would be cooking or doing something and he'd just read a magazine. Just the things that we would do together. So I like to go fishing. One of our dates was we went rollerblading. I borrowed your rollerblades and we went rollerblading in Huntington Beach. It was just natural, I guess. I was also scared because a lot of people, oh, he's the rebound guy. And I was like, I don't know. Do I like him? But it was like a slow progression, but I really enjoyed being with him.
Mhm.
And he really cared about me. And he also cared about my family.
Mhm.
And we have the same idea about just our faith and how
Mhm.
we would want to raise our family and all
Mhm.
of that. Like he actually had our kids' names pretty much picked out. He's like, we're having 3 kids and this is what we're going to name them. But yet
Oh,
he told me he's not going to propose to me. So I'm like, okay, I don't know. But
element of surprise, I guess.
yeah. And then so I'm gonna go to my K dramas and like Chinese dramas that I like, right? And
Mm.
so I joke around because I'll say like I married a white Asian man because in the K dramas, it's like it's a slow progression. And like I remember when he first kissed me, he kissed me on top of my head, like right here. And I was
Wow.
like, did he just kiss me?
That counts?
Yeah. So it was, like holding my hand and then,
That's sweet.
it was just like
That's
a
sweet.
slow
Yeah.
progression and it was just nice.
You had shared values. I think that's
Yeah,
really
that was
important.
just huge.
And for the first time, would you say that you weren't performing?
Yeah, I didn't have to dress a certain way. I didn't have to buy him anything or make him anything. I didn't have to do his homework because one, he's a teacher. So there was nothing that I had to do. I just had to be me. I was able to, integrate my work and share everything that I do with him. And
Mhm.
so that was like the best thing
Mhm.
because I was able to share my life with him, all the different aspects of who I
Mhm.
am and things that are important to me. At the time, I was towards the end of my senior year,
Mhm.
actually 5th year. And just sharing, like I was a president's ambassador, so I got to share that with him. And we went to some hockey games together. The aquarium was one of our dates that we had. But
Mhm.
then he knows how important my sorority is, so Alpha Omicron Pi. And that continues to be a huge part of my life and service that I give back to my sorority sisters.
Mhm.
And talking about love, that was hard for me because people ask me, well, you have 4 sisters. Why are you joining a sorority? And it wasn't that I needed sisters or that I wanted sisters because I have my sisters.
Mhm.
But this was a group of women that we had shared values again,
Mhm.
and it's that unconditional love. It's
Mhm.
very different. So I have unconditional love with my siblings. I
Mhm.
have unconditional love with my AOPI sisters, and I have that unconditional love from my husband.
Mhm.
And so I think that is what makes that big difference
Mhm.
because they're all part of my life in different aspects. And I have my work family. So
Mhm.
I truly, they're my work family and I care about them. And so I have different areas of love in my life.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful. And I think it's so important because we are complex individuals. I've always expressed that it's important to put around you people that uplift you. And that could be, as you mentioned, folks in your at work, that community, the community with your sorority sisters, with your own immediate family. And I think it's really important because not everyone can be one and all for us.
Mhm.
Having a broad network of people who support you is beautiful. And the fact that you saw that early in life, I think, is a beautiful thing because you were able to understand what you wanted. So many people look for the kind of love that you have often later in life because they're just trying to figure themselves out. And the fact that you figured yourself out young, kudos to you because you found the right person early in life and now you've created this beautiful life together.
Well, it has to do with also our upbringing and, you and our siblings modeling that for me too. So growing up, right, I always went fishing with dad, and he would talk about everybody and all their significant others.
Mhm.
Oh, she's dating a Vietnamese guy. Oh no. And there were so many different, you know, um, right, stereotypes and things like dad would say with his cousins and stuff like that and uncle. But in the end, our parents support us in what we chose,
Mhm.
right? Our spouses that we chose.
Mhm.
So seeing our oldest sister Malai and Fong, I'm just so amazed and so proud of my sister. She chose the right man for her. Our oldest sister models love. She cares for all of us and our children and our friends, and that's important. And I also want to do the same thing for my nieces and nephews. I want to be there and show up for them if they ever need me to. I think that's different because that's how we were raised.
Mhm.
And I'm not doing it because I want love. I do it because I love them.
Mhm.
And so that's where it's like I say it intentionally that I love you because that was what I always wanted to hear growing up because mom and dad that wasn't something they were taught. But I know dad
Yeah.
loved, mom loved
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
And you know that you like to hear it. And so that's
Mhm.
why you also say it. You kind of want to treat others as and how
Mhm.
you'd like to be treated. And how has this then shaped how you've
Right.
built? Oh no, please. How has these experience shaped what you've built around yourself in terms of your current relationships and family? How has that upbringing shaped that for you?
In all the different areas that are really important in my life, people know where I stand with things. I will accommodate people to a certain extent, right? But I think people know who I am. It doesn't surprise me if someone will ask me to help with something because they know that I'll help out,
Yeah. So
right? Like
you put
sometimes they don't
together,
have to ask. Like,
right.
mhm.
Right. And like you definitely give love. I admire how you have built your relationships. You're one of the siblings that will reach out consistently to make sure check in on us. I've always appreciated that from you. And it's not just checking in on me, but you check in on my kids and the other siblings and their kids. It's so, and I know how busy you are. So I'm so grateful for that. But I also see that you have healthy boundaries. Like you're going to say whether yes or no, and whether or not you're able to do that. And you hold your ground when it comes to things that you definitely don't want to do. And I think that's so brave and it takes a lot of consistent practice.
I think my kids, one is away, Michigan State,
Hmm.
but I also don't want to hinder anybody or put pressure. And
Hmm.
so something that I do with Audrey is, right, I love her so much and I miss her so much, but I don't want to put pressure on her to like have to call me or have to do stuff. And so I wrote her different cards and different little gifts and stuff that I tell her to open it up when she's feeling a certain way or on a specific date.
Hmm.
And, because I want her to stop and just kind of take time for herself and take care of herself too. And I want her to have boundaries as well.
Hmm.
So I don't want my love to like just, like you can be like overleft. So it's just like, please let me go, kind of thing. So, teaching those boundaries early. And then
Hmm.
I also, as a mom, right, need to be like, okay, I need to let her be because, yeah, I don't want it to hurt me either. But I also so know,
Hmm.
I want her to know that I'm there and that I'm here when she needs me. So, and I'm like that with all the kids. They probably would like me to be more hands-on and lovey-dovey like I used to be, but with my current health situation, sometimes my body hurts a lot, so I can't hug them as much. But I'm there physically because, mom and dad worked full time, and sometimes the only time I would see him was when he dropped me off at swim practice at 5 o'clock in the morning on his way to work. That was
Yeah.
also love, showing love. And I
Yes.
also, Brian and I show our kids that
Mhm.
because mom and dad couldn't go. And
Right.
so if I'm able to go, I'm there to be their cheerleader. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's so true. Yeah, yeah, speaking of showing love, I remember dad making those egg rice patties for us in the
Mhm.
mornings
Yeah.
and mom always cooking. There's so many fond memories of eating well. Really good Lao food for
Yeah,
sure.
no, I
Hmm.
spent a lot of time fishing with dad. So when you all would come and join us and mom and so we'd do the fishing and then you'd bring all the extras and then
Yeah.
we would sit underneath a big oak tree and just, enjoy the summer heat, right, under the tree and freshly grilled fish,
Mhm.
crappie or just bluegills and
Yeah.
sticky rice and papaya salad,
Yeah,
all of
those are great, great memories. And one of the things that I really admired, as I mentioned, you stay connected with the family, but you created such fond memories and experiences for your own kids, and in some ways for me as well, because I've tagged along. But the camping trips, oh my goodness, the camping trips. I think Dad loved going with you and Brian and the kids fishing. And I went with you guys on a camping trip once to Big Bear. Such great memories of getting up early, watching the sun rise with you and the kids, seeing the fireworks over Big Bear Lake. I mean, it was just wonderful memories. When I think about the Daytons and I think about the love that you have given to your kids, that's what I think of.
Yeah, I'm really thankful for my husband for that because he loves planning things just for the family.
Mhm.
And that's something I really appreciate him doing. And he'll pack everything up. And sometimes I'm like, oh, this is just too much. But it's something that he's enjoyed growing up because, right, he's from the Midwest. And so he has grown up camping as well. And something that he's done in the past few years is Audrey's senior year, and he coaches basketball, and that group is really special to him. And he actually took the seniors camping with us during spring break. So, yes, we've taken some of his high school students camping,
Oh, that's
and then
beautiful.
he did the juniors and a couple seniors
Mhm,
last year with Jeremy so that he would have that experience with a
mhm.
couple of people on the team. But yeah, we've been able to kind of share. It's those moments, camping's not expensive. It's the moments being together. And we
Yeah.
have kids that will be in college, and although we work full time, we're middle class, so, and just being able to just do things as a family is really nice. A lot of the fishing trips, I always enjoyed spending all my time with Dad doing that. Sometimes on, a Friday night when all the college kids were out in Oceanside with a bonfire, I'd be fishing with Dad for lobsters. Oh,
It's not bad.
but
Yeah,
yeah, I
I
mean,
do
it's
remember that.
right.
Mm.
It's something from, and that I think that was one reason why Dad was okay with Brian because he fished.
He fished.
He fished. I went for my 10-year reunion. I
Mhm.
was pregnant with Timothy, and Brian went fishing with Dad.
That's so nice. I
Yeah.
remember Dad was saying, like, if you learn to fish, teach a person to fish, and they're set for life, right?
Mhm.
He definitely valued that. Oh, I love it. Just to reflect back, we talked about like performing, and we talked about if you're not performing, like, then you're not worthy of that love. Like, I think for me, in my experience, I felt like I had to earn my keep. As a
Yes.
kid, I felt like, okay, what can I do to contribute? I was delivering newspaper, when I was in the fourth, fifth grade, and I barely made money. It was instilled in me that you need to earn your keep. And I think it was just the family dynamics. And I think that has followed me in life.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly like, grinding, working hard because, that was me then. I have a different mindset now in terms of
Mhm.
my wealth mindset. But how did that impact you?
So, in terms of right performing, like I shared that to me, Buddhism is more of a culture because I was not good enough to learn about doctrine and all of that because I'm a girl. I also felt that because, like, Dad, he didn't want me to go to college. He wanted me to go to cooking school. But I loved everything that Dad did, all the government work and all of that stuff. That was stuff that I loved learning about. I mean, my bachelor's is in political science and international relations. And
Mhm.
so, because I always felt that, I was your shadow, right? Dad always wanted me to be like you.
Oh,
Um, but I love you. You're my sister. So there's always that competition. But, growing up now after college and everything, I just, you're my sister. I need you. I love you. And all that stuff that mom and dad would tell us, that was just how that was their upbringing. And I had to let that go, because even when I was with mom and I was just dating my husband, she's like, well, how much money does he make? And Brian and I stayed home I was supposed to stay home for 10 years, but I stayed home for 8 years raising our kids, because we wanted to be there for our kids, because I didn't have that growing up. I wanted them to have a good foundation, to know that, that they had a parent that was there for them, that we were there for them.
Mhm.
And so I stayed home, even though I have my master's, and I would volunteer and do, a lot of things that kept me busy with them. But I didn't work and I didn't make money. That was hard for me. Like, we would get in some arguments because I felt I wasn't worthy of anything because I didn't make money,
Mhm.
you know? And even now, the money that we do make, I give it back to our kids, because again, mom and dad couldn't put us through college. Mom and dad, we didn't have that luxury.
Mhm.
And yes, I'm married to Brian Dayton, and he is a white man, but we work really hard for what we have, and we put it back into our family.
Mhm.
And we've had struggles coming here as refugees. That is our story, and people need to learn that and know that, because I have what I have because I worked really hard,
Mhm.
right? Worked really hard for it, and I also give back. And our kids have always known that they have to give back to society, and that they care for people. That was something that we've always made them see. We never just bought them things because they wanted it. It was something that they had to earn in that sense, right? But we were never, you know, we never just asked for something and that would be given to us. And so I guess in that sense, I also taught that to our kids, because
Mhm.
mom and dad made us work hard for everything that we had.
Mhm. Right.
So even
Right.
though a lot of the stuff we gave to mom and dad, but I'm not expecting my kids to take care of me. That would be great, but I don't have that expectation. I don't, because again, I want them to be able to take care of themselves, and that's what a parent, you want your children to be able to do, is to take care of themselves. And
Yeah.
yes, I'm there if they need anything, but just again, being present and
Mhm.
showing up, right? I might not have a lot of money, but I will be there and I will serve, for 5 hours if I need to help you with something.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, I think that's beautiful. What I wanted for my kids is very similar in that, you want them to be independent and to follow their dreams and to be good, kind human beings, contributors to society, right? And I think the difference with in the family dynamics that we grew up in is it's that expectation. I'm like you. I don't have that expectation for my kids for them to take care of me. And I think that we grew up with that
mhm.
that sort of dutiful daughter role
Mhm.
and that filial piety,
And we
right?
share it right now. We share that right now with mom, all of us. And we
Yeah.
try to,
We do. And it's a culture that she grew up in. And
Mhm.
so, I respect that. I honor that. And that definitely transcended in the early part of my years, how I was in my relationships, personal relationships and with work. But I've definitely grown over the years to create healthy boundaries for myself, for sure. And at the end of the day, whatever decisions I make, I want to make sure that I make them with the right intentions. The right intentions for me is to give and not expect anything in return. If I can give to someone or something, to a cause or whatever, and not expect anything in return, then I know that it was the right choice for me.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's that unconditional love,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And yeah, to not to not expect
Mm-hmm.
that. And it's always a nice surprise when you get it returned, but it's not expected at all. That's beautiful. Just to shift the discussion, if you had a message you wanted to share with our listeners who have grown up where love wasn't the language, and what message would you like to leave with them?
I think it's love thyself. And I know it sounds stupid, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you really have to love yourself before you can love anybody else.
Mhm.
And not that like, oh, I love myself because I am so pretty and blah, 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 blah. But it's
Mhm.
loving yourself so that you take care of yourself.
Mhm.
And that's what I mean by that. So you can't share all of you until you accept all those areas of yourself. So I think that's really important. Kind of like that sense of telling your story. You need to know your story before you
Yeah.
want to share it with somebody else.
Oh, I love that. Say that again because I think it's so powerful.
Just right, knowing yourself, knowing your own story before you can share that with anyone else. So
Mhm.
I kind of see that as part of love.
Yes. I love it's your love story.
Mhm.
So you talk about singing that love story or living that love story. You are the main character of your love story, of your life story, right?
Yeah.
No one else's. And don't play the supporting actor when you're supposed to be
Yes, I
you're
know,
supposed
right?
to be the main
Be the main. Yeah, you are that
the
number one
leading
person.
character. You are
Yes.
the leading character of your own main story.
Yes.
No one else is gonna. That's so true. It took me a long time to get to that point. I was living a life of, and I think partly because how I experienced love growing up, which was to perform, to be that dutiful daughter, hustling and making sure everybody else is good and being like the emotional modulator, like, is everything okay? Because it was never peace or calm. There was always drama or, it was just, there's always excitement. And it's an adrenaline rush in some ways. And I think for me, I ended up feeling like performance. Like if I could be, don't want to use the word perfect daughter or perfect, the word perfect, because I don't see that. And I try not to use that word anymore. But like to just, because now it's like, what's good enough? You know what I mean? That's my approach. And, but I think have this idea of performing and having to perform so that you maintain peace, that you maintain, like you make people happy so that maybe emotions will be stable, that things will be fine. And I think
Mhm.
it just carries with you in life and work and all of these relationships, and you end up literally burning out.
Yeah. I think it also is important because I can then communicate with my husband what I need, right?
Hmm.
I used to feel guilty when I was staying at home with the kids and I would go out maybe once every,
Hmm.
once or twice a year with my sorority sisters just for happy hour or lunch or something and I feel guilty. And so
Hmm.
I told them I need you to tell me to have a good time
Hmm.
because then I feel like I can do it and not feel guilty about leaving.
Yeah.
So, but I needed to tell him that,
Hmm.
not that he didn't want me to have a good time. It was just I needed that. And I guess it goes back to right like the different five languages of love. And so for me it's words of affirmation and I need that
Hmm.
because yeah, sometimes you feel lonely, like the kids when I used to take them to school, but then Brian would pick them up and then I had nothing to do with them until I got home. And then when they went to high school, he took them and brought them home. And so I had the interaction was different.
Hmm.
And so I had to tell him that, this is hard for me because I'm not part of their life at all. And this is what I need.
Hmm.
And so it's just again being intentional, right?
Yeah.
Seeing that something's not working or something is off and being able to communicate that with your spouse to let them know what
Mhm.
you need. And so Yeah.
Yeah. No, and then you developed that um communication um skill very early, and I think that's really important. Yeah, it's interesting. I think that, we experience our parents differently.
Hmm.
And I think it's something that I've come to appreciate, in that notion of, well, you came from the same household, you came from the same set of
Yeah.
parents, you have the same resources. Like,
Mhm.
why are we so different? I'm like, well, no, not necessarily, because I think our parents were in different mindsets.
Mhm.
Um, and what we experience, they were financially in different spaces as we were growing up, and emotionally as well, and the maturity as well. Molly and Monica, they all experienced mom and dad when they were younger. I want to believe, like, for my kids now, that I'm a much better version of myself, now at this
I
age.
definitely like you better now than I did growing up. Oh.
Well, I have to say to you, and I'll try not to cry, but you are my sister by blood. And if I had to choose another lifetime, I would continue to have you as my sister. So
Love you.
anyhow, so it's sister by blood and by choice.
Yeah.
So now
Sorry.
no, that was like, it was really, thank you for that. It's just, raw. If you can share, like, who, and it doesn't have to be one person, it could be multiple people, but in terms of who taught you about love, about being present, about boundaries, like, who can you attribute that to?
So, there's a couple. So growing up, right, my best friend Carrie McDowell,
Oh,
now
yes,
Carrie
Carrie.
Comer, her parents showed love
Mm,
and they were just very loving. And still, I call her parents mom and dad. Like, I had a breakup in college, and when I went home, I didn't go home to mom and dad's house. I was down the street at her house, mending my broken heart at her
Oh,
parents' house.
she knows all
Uh,
the stories. She
yeah.
knows all the stories.
But I think that the love that they have for each other and the resilience, and, I appreciate the love that they gave me because that was the love that mom and dad couldn't give me.
Mm,
It was just the love that I need at the time, if that makes
mhm,
sense, right? Because there's different types of love that you need in
yeah.
different times of your life. And so I would say that. And then when I met Brian's Aunt Cheryl,
Mm,
she's my probably one of my favorite aunts. She's just fun, exciting, but she was there for me when I needed it because she understood just I guess, the lack of love or understanding that I was feeling at the time. And she was able to embrace me. And her love language is gifts. And it wasn't that I needed gifts from Aunt Cheryl, but she's just such an amazing aunt. And she just shows love for everyone. And so I enjoy that. And that's probably why I do like giving gifts when I can.
mhm.
And although I'm not as talented as Aunt Cheryl with, like, her sewing, I do try to sew some things and give them as gifts. And so I really enjoy that. I shared about Malai and Feng. I thank all of my nieces and nephews because
Mhm,
they show love in different ways. And I've always enjoyed being a part of their lives.
mhm.
And I miss those that move far away.
Yeah.
And so, but seeing how they interact with their siblings and then their cousins, it gives me hope for, our family because they do care about each other. They will show up when they need to,
Mhm.
and then others will need to nudge the other ones.
Yeah.
And so, the love that your kids, my kids, they show for each other.
Mhm.
And even when they're upset about something that they don't like what the other one's doing, they will say something. And so it's that love, right? That unconditional love, but there's a certain a certain point of what they will accept because they also have expectations for their cousins. I mean, there's that unconditional love, but they want to make sure that they're making the right choice. And I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
They hold each other a
To
bit
high standards. Yeah.
accountable to high standards, and
Hmm.
there's to account, right?
Yes.
For their
Yes.
actions. And yeah,
Mhm.
I agree. And I'm grateful that Molly instilled that in all of us and with the cousins and our families. I think it's a lot to do with her and
Mhm.
being sort of that second parent for us.
Mhm. Yeah.
For
And
sure.
then last but not least is my sorority sister, Phyllis Gilson.
Oh,
So she's in a memory care center now. She's in her 70s. But who would think that one of my best friends is a 70-year-old in a nursing home? So, but she is. The love that we share, like I said, right? There's that unspoken, unconditional love that I have. I didn't go to college with Phyllis. I didn't, I knew her as she's one of our vice presidents of the whole sorority fraternity.
mhm.
But we served as volunteers together, and I got to know her and her husband, and just the unconditional love that she has with me. And I can just give her I would give her a call at 7:30 in the morning because that's when she's up and I'm on my way to work, and we can chat and just talk like, we didn't miss a beat. And then my best friend Carrie, something that Audrey was able to see through when we moved her away to college,
Yeah.
was that, Mom, how do you have this relationship?
Did she say
She,
that? Oh,
yeah, she was just like amazed by it. And I just told her, it's like you have that soulmate, you have that best friend that just knows you, and you can pick up as if you just live right next door or you just saw them a couple hours ago.
yeah.
And you just have that unconditional love. She knows her secrets, she knows everything, she knows what you want.
Yes.
She knows your fears. She knows everything about you.
Mhm.
She won't share it with your husband, which is good.
Good.
But
It's in the vault. It's in the vault.
yeah, it's in the vault. But that, since Audrey's, experienced college life
Yeah.
and all of this stuff, she's going to have those experiences. She's going to find her people.
Yeah.
I have my people.
Oh,
And
I'm
I'm not
so
closed
glad.
to meeting new people because
Yeah.
yes, I will also bring new people in because you just have those experience
Mhm.
of meeting people, and sometimes like you click and it's like I just met you, but I feel like I've known you for 50 years. And yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, oh, for sure. It's beautiful that you have friendships, some that have lasted and started from early on in your life to the like every phase in your life,
Mhm.
there's these connections. And I think it's beautiful that Audrey is learning that and developing that for herself. It's these how you model, right? That for your kids, how you model that love for yourself. When they see that, I think it's a beautiful thing. Because 20, 30 years from now, Audrey's going to be looking back and seeing her amazing life and the community that she's built for herself. It's important for kids to see that this
Mhm.
is healthy. Yeah.
Yeah. And, Brian, he knows it's important to me.
Mhm.
So we made a deal that if I fly out to Indiana this summer, we get to
Mhm.
drive back and stop in Oklahoma to spend some time with Carrie. So,
Oh,
so yeah,
nice.
she's my person.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I love it. I love it. Please send her my regards. Okay, so if you can share like a favorite quote or mantra, would
Yeah.
love to hear yours.
So it's not very individualistic at all. It is 1 Corinthians 13, and I'm just going to share verses number 4 through 7. So love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, nor rejoices, but rejoices in the truth. It always protects, it always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. That is the example of how a marriage should be. And that's
Mhm.
what I've also kept in terms of my relationships for my love for others. And
Oh,
so,
love that. I,
yeah. And then growing up, there was always this one thing I really liked. We would go by Nordstrom's,
uh-huh.
and I was always go and look at it because I really wanted someone to buy it for me.
What is it? What is it?
It's in French,
Oh,
And it's right. I love you more today, more than yesterday, and less than tomorrow.
oh,
Right. So, but it's written in French. So, aujourd'hui, plus qu'hier, et bien moins que demain. My husband's not a romantic like me. So I write that to him a lot.
oh, that is
So,
so beautiful. You should have that
but, yeah.
stitched, or like on some canvas. I love that. Love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I have truly enjoyed our conversation around love was not the language. And I can tell that even though growing up for you, that love was not the language, that you embody that. And when I see you, it's and what you do for others, the students that you serve, the family and God. I mean, you are a woman of love. And I love you so much. Thank
I
you.
love you too.
Thank you.
We could say it in Laotian because we never really hear it,
Oh,
right? Dad said, I love you. He didn't say Koi Hak Chao
he said it in
in
English.
English.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
because we don't really hear it in
Yeah.
Lao.
Yeah. So do you
Yeah,
want to go ahead and say it in Laos? In Lao?
Koi Hak Chao.
Oh, khoi hak chào cái cần. Lai lai.
But right, it's weird. Yeah.
No, I mean, but this time when I say it like it's different. Everything is having different meaning for me now, like
Mhm.
coming back into our language, our culture,
Yeah.
and even, now with mom, even though love was not the language growing up, I'm hoping, that her golden years, that she
Mhm.
experiences the love through our eyes, through our lens. And because try not to cry. I just know that I want her to know that she's worthy.
Mhm. I want her to love herself.
Yeah. And that she does not have to perform, you know, because I feel
Mhm.
like we did the work, and we're continuing to do the work because it's never ending, right? Evolving as a human being, as a spirit. But I want the little girl in her
Mhm.
to know that she's loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I would love mom to be comfortable, to be like, I'm okay, right? Like I don't need anybody around me. Like for me, like I'm home by myself. Okay, I'm happy. I can still do stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And and be okay with that. And it's okay with not, just give us a call.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Hmm.
And I see that part of her at times for
Hmm.
sure, because when we go out for lunch or dinner, she'll tell me what she does, and she'll say that she was just checking out YouTube or whatever, that's on the tube, or whatever she's looking at. She keeps herself busy in her garden. I mean, she's living in like a blue zone.
Yeah.
And I swear her secret to longevity is doing these squats. It's not because she intentionally is physically doing squats for exercise. She's just
Gardening.
she's
Yeah.
cooking, she's
She's
gardening,
cooking.
she's in these deep squats. And I'm like, that's really good for you. This one
Hmm.
time I was visiting her, and she was descaling fish outside,
Hmm.
and I'm like, "How long have you been doing this?" Because I saw
All the fish.
a lot of fish. I'm like, I can understand one or two, but it's because it was a whole bucket. Like, I don't know, like maybe a half hour, an hour. I'm like, and you've not
She's
moved?
burned a lot of calories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, it's good for you, but you do should. I'm like, wow, that's why she has strong legs and a strong core. Anyhow, and that's something that I'm trying to do myself, is these like Asian squats, deep squats, uh, and hoping to tap into that. But anyhow, I digress. I just wanted to again tell you how much I appreciate and love you, and looking forward to more adventures and more experiences with you.
Well, I love you more. Each day I love you more. Today more than yesterday and less than tomorrow.
I love you.
Love you, sis.
Bye. I want to thank my sister, Boualoy, for joining me today and for sharing her story so openly and honestly. As her sister, I've had the privilege of walking alongside her for most of my life, but conversations like this remind me that even those closest to us still carry stories we're only just beginning to understand. Boualoy's journey of faith, leadership, and rediscovering her identity as a daughter of Lao refugees is deeply inspiring. The way she serves students, builds community, and leads with compassion reflects the very love that many of us grew up without the language to express. Boualoy reminds us that love is not only something we inherit, it is something we can learn, practice, and give freely. I'm so proud that we will continue this journey together as co-presenters at the APAHI 2026 conference in Anaheim this April, sharing our stories and helping others explore what it means to reclaim identity, belonging, and voice. Thank you, Boualoy, for not only being here today, but for being my sister, leader, and the woman that you are. And to everyone listening today, thank you for being part of this community. If today's conversation resonated with you, please take a moment to subscribe, share this episode with someone who may need to hear it, and leave a review. Your support helps these stories reach others who are still searching for language around love, belonging, and healing. In our next episode, we shift into a powerful and vulnerable theme. Episode 8, Becoming Visible, Voice, Visibility, and Taking Up Space. For many of us, especially daughters of immigrants and refugees, invisibility once felt like safety. We learned to stay quiet, work hard, and avoid drawing attention to ourselves. But there comes a moment when silence no longer protects us, it diminishes us. In episode 8, we explore what it means to step into our voice, claim our presence, and finally take up the space we're always meant to inhabit. Because your story matters, your presence matters, and the world needs the fullness of who you are. Until next time, this is Lily, and this is Rooted and Becoming. Stay rooted in who you are and keep becoming who you were always meant to be. Please follow and subscribe at GoldTree Co. Stay rooted and becoming, and worthy beyond measure. Thank you for staying until the end of the episode. At GoldTree Co, we believe anyone can start building wealth with intention. With as little as $500, you can step into real estate angel investing, gaining access to vetted opportunities normally reserved for big players. This is about more than returns. It's about creating stability today, freedom tomorrow, and a legacy that lasts for generations. Your money works for you while you focus on what matters most. Ready to grow with us? Visit goldtreeco.com and book your complimentary meeting with me now. And let's plant seeds of wealth together.